Hi, Carol. Hi, Ann. How are you? Oh, there I am. Okay. All right. Good morning. Hi, Tammy. Hi, Michelle. It's good to see you too. I'm excited about today. I've been thinking about it all week and I've had so much fun putting everything together. And I could do this like every day, just put packages together. It's so much fun. Hi, Saretha. Good evening. I'm so happy you're here. Thanks for joining us so early in the morning, or so late in the evening for you. Oh, Millie's coming in. She heard me talking. So Millie has been shedding. I didn't know, she's a year old now. And so we got her November 18th. She was born on September 19th. And we went down to Indiana to pick her up. So she was just like a little fuzzball when we got her. So she usually has all this long hair and she has been shedding, like there's piles of hair everywhere. I thought something was wrong with her because, I'm a dog mom now and I worry about everything. So I text the breeder, I go, there's hair everywhere. She goes, it's okay. They do it fall and spring. So I guess she has like no hair around her neck anymore and it's just all over my clothes. So I wore black just to emphasize that there's dog hair everywhere, piles. So it was a little stressful for me. I thought something was wrong with her, but you know how it is when you have pets, you get worried about it. So anyway, hey Leslie, I saw your note. Thanks for being here. I'm so happy to see you today. And I've been enjoying all your gorgeous collages on Instagram. They're just so fun to watch. So if you don't follow Leslie Rotner on Instagram, she's been filming herself make these beautiful collages and I just am always, they take my breath away. So she's at Leslie Rotner Art over on Instagram. And she's the woman who makes the beautiful handmade brushes that I like to use. Oh, well, there we go, Millie. So this could be something. Now, Millie, you have to be quiet. We can't go out now. We're on Facebook Live. So you can't bark. Come over here and sit by me. Come on over. Come over here. So I think we're ready to get started. Let me move my computer over, and I can't guarantee Millie was sleeping. I usually take her out before I start Facebook Live, but today I didn't because she was taking a nap. So you have to be quiet, okay? Can you be quiet? Can you go get your dragon? Go find your dragon. Yeah, go get your dragon. Okay, so I hope you guys are ready. So what my plan was, I started thinking about the packaging part and gifting, and I want to give people like a little piece of my art, and but I don't want to just paint anything. So I'm sorry, this is gonna be real life in Renee's home today. So I started looking through my images, and I wanted to pick an image that I had a personal connection to that was joyful and cheer as I go on this mission of spreading cheer throughout the land. So I came across a photograph that I took when I went to Colorado, and I went to Jean's workshop with my friend Andrea Garvey, and we took a beautiful hike. It was like the stars aligned. It was sunny and it was beautiful, and went to this place called Monument Rock. And there were so many wildflowers and beautiful clouds in the sky. So I took that picture and I printed it out. Okay, because I have all these great memories about this place. And I just remember this beautiful breeze and the wildflowers and the smell and the air. It was so beautiful. And then there was a little barn that I thought was very beautiful. So this is my jumping off point. I'm not going to paint this exactly. And I want to make something for all the people in my life, just something small, like a tiny little piece of art. And so I took, you can use watercolor paper, mixed media paper, and I encourage you to go through your phone and look at images that mean something to you. And you can use watercolor, you can use oils, whatever you like to use. And so in this one, I did some acrylics and a little bit of pastel after it dried. I didn't do too much before while it was still wet. And then I went into my garden and I have these little boxwoods, and I snipped off some pieces because I love the little leaves of the boxwoods. I think they're so pretty. So I just snipped off a few of these, and I'm not going to do too many right now because as I get closer to the holidays, I want them to be fresh. But for today, I thought this was pretty. And then I wanted to kind of create a color palette around my packaging. I know that sounds probably crazy, but so these are my suggestions. I have a giant roll of drawing paper, which is really nice. It's Strathmore drawing paper. And I took a little piece of that because it's thick, and I might use it to wrap up smaller gifts. You could also get a big roll of white craft paper. They have it at, Michael's, Joann's, on Amazon, or regular craft paper. So I would encourage you to get big rolls of paper that you can write on, paint on. And we did that last year too. We did a lot of mark making on the paper. So this year I have some different ideas, and I kind of created the blues and greens that I like, and I brought in the earthy colors of this really beautiful gold. It's kind of a raw sienna color. So I pulled some things together to kind of create this color palette in colors that I love, and I put it together in the packaging. So I'm gonna flip it around now, and we're gonna make one. Oh, but before I do wanna show you. Wait, so I'm getting ahead of myself. So I posted that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make original artworks for the people who I give gifts to, these small pieces. And then I'm going to send it to, there's a company that I use called GotPrint, GOTPRINT, gotprint.com. And that's where I go to get my business cards. And they have really beautiful paper, and they do a great job, and it's inexpensive, and you get them like in a week. And I pick the matte paper. They have like a glossy paper, they have an uncoated paper. I like the matte because I don't really want the shine on here. So I kind of upgraded, but you don't have to do that. And I made these too that I put when I ship out orders. So they have different sizes that you can make, and they just come out so beautifully. So what I'm gonna do is take one of my favorite ones, and I'm just going to upload it to GotPrint, and then in a postcard. So they have like a 3x5, 4x6 size. And I'm going to, on the back, leave it blank so that I can write a note or sign it. And it's not about marketing my art or anything like that. These are more, it's all about, I'm giving this gift of art. So that way I can include it, for teachers, for my mailman. I'm gonna put one in my mailbox. Maybe bring it to the cafe where I have my coffee all the time and give it to the woman who owns the cafe. So just little pieces that you can have. You get 100 of them, and I think it's like maybe $17, $18 depending on the paper. And then you can just have this beautiful thing to give out to people and write notes. You can also make cards, so then you can turn them into your stationery. You can get envelopes and a folded card if that's something you want to do. So with that said, GotPrint, I'll put the link in here after the little session. And then I want to because you're my group, I want to give you the first peek. These are not in my shop yet, but I tried something different with the company who I order my little zipper bags from. And I got these beautiful journals, and the back of them are plain. They just have my logo on the back, and they're white. And this one has lined paper in it, and I got one to make into a sketchbook if you wanted it. So that's just plain paper. And I think they're like 5x8, something like that. But I've been using one, and I really love the paper quality, especially for writing in. And I also like the front page has a black and white version of the artwork, and they're very durable. So I'm waiting on another shipment of some new things. They're in progress. I'm hoping to have them within the next week or so. And once I have everything, I'm gonna put it in my shop, so the inventory that I have, and I will let you know first. And that way, if you want to get things, I'll post it here, and then I'll put it on the newsletter as well. So, but I'll post it in the Facebook group everything's up in the shop, and then the newsletter will go out with all the shop details. So you get to get the first-hand information. All right, so let me turn everything around and we're gonna talk about what we're gonna make today. All right, you ready? Wait, gotta turn, okay. There we go. So I'll make sure it's straight. There we go, I think you can see okay. I'm gonna just scoot it over a little bit more. Okay, so these two are just wrapped in the Strathmore paper, and I just have a plain one with this beautiful ribbon that is hand dyed, and I thought that's perfect like it is, or you could write something on it or paint. And this was the little piece that I worked on yesterday, and I already got something on it, but I just took my landscape and I kind of used it as my source of inspiration. I taped it off, and that's what we're gonna do. And then I had this ribbon in my ribbon box. So I'm gonna move this over, and I've got, I'm gonna get my little super fancy paper palette here and bring in the colors that I like. So when I'm looking at this, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to get a pencil. Okay. All right, so let's have a charcoal pencil. So you could make a square depending on your image, but I wanted these to be vertical. So I'm just going to look at the shapes that are in here. So there's all these little nuances of shapes, and I'm just gonna take in the ones I like. But what I love, besides the cute little barn, and there's actually a little horse over there, is this fence line with these little posts and then the wire going through. So there's this kind of leading your eye, and there's this beautiful grouping of little flowers and some wild sage. So it's really very pretty. But this has the majority of, it's almost like it's cut in the middle, and I cropped it just a bit, but I want more sky. So I am going to just drop down this line. I want a lot of sky in here. I want the blue, and then just to have the green at the bottom. So I'm going to start with my tree line and just kind of, well, my pencil works, so it's kind of, I guess I need another one. Let's try this one. So I'm just using a charcoal pencil. And I'm not going to try to create like this perfect landscape. I just want to kind of get the shapes in as a guide. And then here is that little fence line, and there's this cluster of flowers here. Okay, so now I have that. Let me mix up some paint, which might take a minute or two. So I'm going to start with my sky, and I'm going to use, let me get some white here. Hopefully these will open. Sometimes that, no, it's not going to open. All right, I guess I have to use this one here. All right, let me just make a big pile of white, and I'm going to mix it with a little bit of white gesso because it's kind of thick. I should have tested it ahead of time. That one opened. All right, so I have some Payne's Gray and some chromium oxide green. And these two colors for me, mixed with a little bit of gray, make the perfect blue for my sky that I like. So I'm gonna put a little black over here. Of course, I'm sure you can hear my neighbor mowing now. It's Facebook Live Thursday at 1:30. I mean at 12:30. That's when they start cutting the grass. All right, so let's see. Let me just mix these two together. Kind of thin out my white. And then it's gonna make it a little matte too because I added the gesso to it. I don't really want it to be glossy. All right, so now I'm gonna take a little bit down here and a little speck of black. So whenever you add a little bit of black or gray to a color, it just mutes it, and that's the color palette that I prefer. But if you want more of a saturated, brighter color, then don't add the black. So I have this nice gray. All right, I'm just gonna take my brush. I don't need much here. And just dip it in over here and start mixing this up for my sky. So different companies, their Payne's gray is different. This one is the Nova color, so it's a little brighter than my Liquitex. And then I'm gonna take a little speck of green. So this is the chromium oxide green. And I mix this color quite a bit. And then I'm gonna bring in the gray. So you have to play with it to get the balance you want. So right now it's still too green. A little black in there. That's looking better. You can also use an ultramarine blue. Let's see, let me get, all right. So this is my Liquitex. I bring this one in. It's not as bright of a blue. This is probably where you wish I could, well, let me speed up the video as I get the perfect color. I can't quite get it yet. All right, there we go. I want that gray blue is what I'm trying to get. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I think that's good. Let me move this out of the way. Over here. So I'm gonna just put a little clear gesso in this too, put it off to the side. All right, so I'm just gonna add it in. I'm gonna scrub it into the paper right now. And a little white, I make my sky. So I have my reference, but it's there, but I'm not following it exactly, as you can see. All right. I'm just gonna roll my brush to get kind of a mottled look to it, the sky. Oh, now I think they're cutting down like limbs outside my house. Can you hear that? Sorry. Oh, you never know what's gonna happen. Okay, so now I am going to mix up some green. So I have olive green, a very dark olive green. And then, I don't know if I've ever used this with you guys. I had it. This is another olive green, but it's Arteza, and it comes in these little pouches. And it's very, it's not super thick, and it moves very nicely. And I like the color. As you can see, this olive green is very yellowy. And this one is not so much. And then I have this pale olive green. But I never shy away from buying green. All right, so now I'm gonna bring in a little bit more clear gesso here as I start. I think I'll use this flat brush here and see how that works. So I'm just going to lay it down here just to get something down. That's probably Millie's hair that's in here. It's everywhere. of going with the movement that I see in the picture. And then I also have this palette knife that I'm going to kind of push along here. A darker green with yellow. Oh my, they are just getting to it today out there. So I'm at this place where I'm thinking this does not look good at all, but hopefully I can rescue it. So hang in there. I'm gonna try. It happens every once in a while. Okay, so I bring in my trusty color shaper. And let's get a little blue. Just start moving it around. So it looks a little bit like a field. Oh, there goes Millie. Millie, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's all okay. So I'm trying to get movement. Oh, so is there not enough movement, Millie? Sorry, guys. Okay, this is today. It's today. I know you guys are understanding. All right, let's get a little bit. Bring some down here. All right, so there, I'm gonna let that sit for a minute, and there is that little white farmhouse, and I'm gonna pull some on here and just put it over on this side, I think. Though it doesn't look like, it doesn't have to look. I'm just getting it to be like a little rectangle of a shape there. And while that's sitting there drying, I'm going to take this this is Caribbean pink, and I like it because it's an earthy pink. And I'm gonna take a little bit of it and I'm gonna put it right here. Just lay it in, just for some pink flowers. And then I'm gonna take my palette knife and scrape through it. Kind of move it around so it's not like a blob. There's just this illusion of little flowers. And then I could use a little, let's see, burnt sienna. I think there's some left in the tube. Yes. Millie, you have to be quiet. Shh. Okay. And then let's put a few little dots around here. Hold on 1 second. All right, come here. You want a bone? Come here. Come here. Come get a bone. Come get a bone. Here you go. All right. Here you go. Here's a bone. All right. All right, milk bone to the rescue. Let's see if we can make it through. All right. I'm gonna pull in where I see that little fence there. I'm just scraping into the paint. I'm dipping the palette knife in here and just scraping it to get this texture. All right, now let's get some white on my palette knife. See how long the milk bone lasts until she starts barking again. Like that. Okay, it's starting to look like a little landscape now. I feel like I need a little bit more of this pink in here. So once this dries, oh, I like that. I made a little, that's really good. I like that. I get excited when something goes right, especially when I'm doing it live. Okay, so I feel like this is just a little bit, I'm not happy with that part, so let me see what I can do to play around with that. Let's see. Just want to soften that just a bit. Yeah, I want it to look like a little tree line. I think when I edit this video, I'll probably have to like put music over it or something with all the noise. Oh, I like that. Okay. Let's just take a look at it now. The milk bone seems to be working. All right. My hands are sort of clean. And then I'll just show you what I did on the other one with the pastels. I just added a tiny speck to add a little bit more texture, and I love how it kind of sits on top of the paint. And you know what, this is a really great way to just allow the repetition of creating multiple pieces to loosen you up. So this time of year with, you know, the trees are they've all turned, and if there was a frost the other night, and so sometimes the branches, they're brittle and then they break off. So then all of a sudden these big crews come out, and my street has, you know, 100-year-old trees. They're so old, and so they have these kind of precarious branches that are hovering over power lines, and so it's this huge event. They block off the street, and then they start removing these so that power doesn't take the power line down. A little tear there. It's okay, Millie, I'm almost done. It's okay. All right. That's not too bad. I got a little bit of bleeding there. Okay, so what I will do is go in with my pastel, as you can see here, and just kind of walk it across just to bring in a little bit of this texture. Go up into the sky. and just add a little bit of interest. So I'll have to wait till this one dries in order to do that, and then it'll be really pretty. Okay, let me move this out of the way, because this one's gonna need a little bit more like that. Then I'll spray it with a fixative, and then I've already sprayed this one, but I can do it again. I use this satin varnish, and I made sure, excuse me, all the edges were clean. So if you take a rubber eraser and you just rub it along, it pulls off if you get any pastel or charcoal on it. This works like a miracle. So I'll add some and kind of play with maybe pushing some of the sky down a little bit more. And this one's a different size. It was a piece that I had in the studio. So I try to reuse the pieces that I have, but this one was a 4x6. I don't know what, or maybe this was smaller. I'm not quite sure what it was. All right, let's see. And then put this over here and turn around. Let's see. So I think I have everything. Okay, here we go. All right, are you still there after all the hoopla in my neighborhood and my dog, and she's just standing here. We give her those like bones that you can chew, and so she gets a big one, and then she walks all around the house and puts it somewhere, and then gets it, and then brings it back. So right now there's one sitting here under my workbench. So anyway, so I hope you, I'm excited about this. I think this is a really fun idea, and take your time with it, and to have, do a few of them and then pick your favorite one, because as you know, you do one, then you do another, when you become more relaxed, you get ideas, you put on your music, and you just kind of play with this limited palette. You could want to do it in watercolors. That would be beautiful, very transparent background and everything. So I think it's a great way to gift people and honor your own creativity. And last year, I think I mentioned it in the newsletter, last year so many people did these little holiday cheer projects, and they brought in their family and grandchildren and children, set up a table, and they just made things. And it doesn't have to be this is just one idea, and you are creative and you know what to do. And just think about, instead of buying tags from the grocery store or the drugstore, make your own tags. And we're going to do that. We're going to do some tags too. But I thought that this, I really like the whole idea of wrapping and the ribbons and kind of coming up with the color palette, which makes everything really beautiful under your tree. So last year I did the black and the white and the craft paper and the greenery. So this year it's going to be this white and cream and this kind of mustard color ribbon with the artwork. So I'm excited to do that. All right, my friends, thank you for being here. The winner for the print, the fine art screen print, will be announced in the newsletter that goes out on Monday, and I'll announce it in the group and probably on Instagram too. So thank you for all the beautiful comments on the blog and for going there. And I know some people had a few problems. I don't know why it wouldn't let you make a comment. Technology sometimes throws me for a loop and does weird things. When I think I have it all figured out and I have every link checked and double checked, there's always something. So I appreciate your bearing with me as trees come down and Millie barks and links don't work. So next week will be something else, and on Monday I'll send out a newsletter that will highlight the gift wrapping, and it will also highlight, I'll save this to the group and I'll put it on YouTube, and the new prize. All right, so thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you, and have a beautiful day. Bye.